Hello, year three. Lovely to see you again. Hope all is well for you. Hope you're looking forward to the summer holidays. We have looked this half term at where in London we can see evidence of Christian belief. So we looked at St Paul's Cathedral, hundreds of years old, rebuilt after the Great Fire of London. We looked at the mosaic in the British Museum that showed us that there had been Christians living here for nearly 1,700 years. We looked at the Catholics in Britain and how they've only been able to build churches here in the last 200 years ago, years or so. And we looked at some of those lovely churches. We looked at some of the evidence of Christian belief in art that we can see in the National Gallery here in London. And last lesson, we changed tack and we started to look at Christian belief in modern day London, and we looked at the Jehovah's Witnesses and we looked at them out on the streets, and we said, is this a good method of evangelism, spreading the word of Christianity to other people? And today we're going to look at baptism, and we're going to look at a slightly unusual baptism that takes place somewhere. So let's have a look. Right, this is Twickenham Stadium, and normally Twickenham Stadium is home to rugby. It's in southwest London. It takes about half an hour to get there from Waterloo. Just looking at this photo, if you didn't know this lesson was about baptism, what do you think you would expect to be happening in this stadium? Well, for me, I would expect rugby or maybe a concert, maybe something special like that. But that's not true. It's actually a mass baptism. And when we say a mass baptism, we mean lots of people getting baptized at the same time. And we'll go over what baptism is as well in a minute, just in case you have forgotten. So before we look at this, let me just read what it says in your booklet here so we know. Baptism is a Christian service where holy water is used to welcome someone into the Christian church. It is often done to children, but can also be done to adults in a pool of water. So another word for a baptism is a christening. And you may have been christened, or you may have been to a christening. That's when a baby is baptized and they pour a little bit of water over the baby's head. Whereas adult baptism is when adults make the decision that they are going to become Christians, or they're going to become baptized Christians, and they usually would do this not by pouring a little bit of water over their head. They would sort of dunk them in a river or a swimming pool set up in some churches, or like a paddling pool almost that you can hire to do it in. And that's what happens here. So on this slide we can see that people from all over the UK come to take part in this Christian service. Look at all these coaches. Each one of these coaches has like 100 people on it, and they've come from Leicester, Birmingham, Glasgow, I don't know, Penzance, to come and witness this mass baptism, maybe even get baptized themselves. So baptism, again, is when someone is blessed with holy water. And this whole pool that we're looking at here, this would have been blessed with that holy water. A priest would have said a prayer over it, and that makes it special holy water. And it's very symbolic. It's all about washing away all the bad things that someone does. Washing away and refreshing them and making them fresh and new and ready to receive Jesus Christ, ready to accept the love of Jesus Christ, is what a Christian would say. So baptism is a really, really, really important part of a Christian's life. There are probably 3 or 4 different ceremonies in a Christian's life. Baptism, marriage, something called confirmation, which happens a bit after baptism. Not much else that is as important for a Christian as this moment. So when someone converts to Christianity, they are baptized as an adult. And some types of Christians only baptize adults. They want the person to have a choice in the matter. So it's quite common to see adult baptism happening. It's less common to see it happening in front of thousands of people at a stadium instead of in a church. Here we go. So, I mean, this must be an incredible experience. Whether you are personally Christian yourself or not, you can see, looking at this, that being in front of all of these people who kind of wish you well and want you to do well and share the same beliefs as you, that must be that must feel pretty remarkable. It must feel pretty special. And combined with that is the fact that you are having this very special ceremony done to you, or you're taking part in this very special ceremony. It's a very emotional day for people. It's a very exciting day. It's a very special day. And again, sometimes it takes place in a church. But in this example, you're surrounded by thousands of people all around the stadium who share that Christian belief with you. So the idea here is for as many people as possible to be present and to witness you being baptized. I can't read that because I'm in the way, so just guess what it says. But it says, why might it be a good idea and why might it not be a good idea? So just like last lesson, we sort of assessed whether this evangelism on the streets was a good idea. This lesson, we are going to ask whether this type of huge baptism event is a good idea, whether you think it would be good or not to be baptized in this kind of event. So you can start to think of a list of like pros and cons in our heads. Pros: emotional, exciting day, public, as many people as possible being there, lots of people who share the same faith as you, lots of people who share the same belief as you. And then cons. I wonder what kind of cons there might be. Let's have a think. So it might be overwhelming. It might be too much. There might be too many people. You might consider your faith a bit more private than this. You might think of your faith as not as out there and public. And yeah, it just might be a bit much. It might be a bit too public. It might be a bit too exciting. I probably, personally, if I was going to be baptized, I don't know that I would want to have it done in front of a stadium and thousands of people. I'd want my family there. I'd want my partner to be there. I don't think I'd want to have it done with so many people around. It might be a bit stressful. So that's what we're going to do. That's the last bit of writing for this half term, is whether you think it's a good idea or not. Remember to use a full sentence and remember to explain what you're saying. So you could say, in my opinion, it is a good idea because, in my opinion, it is not a good idea because. And again, I'm really looking forward to seeing some more work, because last half term, you really blew me away with the work that you were doing. If you remember the first lesson, we looked at all those lovely examples like Ella and Mohammed and Dylan and Madison were doing, and lots of other people. Let's just recap. Let's look at the 6 lessons we've done. So where have we seen this evidence of Christian belief or Christian activity? The British Museum with the mosaic, 1,700 years old, Christ with the Cairo behind his head, one of the first bits of evidence of Christian belief in the UK. St Paul's Cathedral, burnt down in 1666, rebuilt in this incredible classical style by Sir Christopher Wren. Westminster Cathedral, one of the biggest and most impressive Catholic churches, but not very old, because Catholics have not always been able to practice their religion in the UK freely. The National Gallery, with those 3 pieces of art, the saints, Mary and Jesus with all the blue and gold, and then Mary and Jesus made of ivory. Lots and lots of historical, classical, religious art there. Oxford Circus Station, where you might see Jehovah's Witnesses doing their evangelism. And today, Twickenham Stadium, where we looked at a mass baptism. Lots of people getting baptized at the same time in front of thousands of people. So I hope you've enjoyed this half term. I don't know if this will be our last RE lesson, or I might do something else, but I will see you in September. I hope you have an amazing summer holiday. I hope you are able to get out and about, and I hope you've enjoyed this half term's work. See you later, Year 3. It's been lovely. Bye bye.